in my book, I discuss how shading and shadowing can add depth to your artwork. So shading, you can see, adds a darkness to the object. So it's on the object, just like on these hands, there is shading on the right side of each of these hands because of where the light source is. Shadowing puts the darkness on a different object behind this object. So for example, it's shading or shadowing under a tree or behind a vase. In this case, the shadowing is behind this circle based on where the light source is. Okay, and also in here, I give you options to practice. So if your light source is up here, how does that shade these circles or these different objects? So it's something that you can practice in this book if that's something that you like to do. But today I would like to show you a more practical example of how you can add some depth to your artwork by adding shading and shadows to your pictures. So for example, this tree would be just fine as it is, but if you want to add a little more depth and character to your tree, then you can add some shading. So if your light source is up here, then your shading is going to be on the right side and underneath. So underneath the branches, underneath the branches, on the underside of the branches, and then in on this right side of the tree. So just by adding this little bit, you can make it darker or lighter. You can, however you want to do it. There's no perfect way. It is just something that you begin to develop as you go. So if you want to add a little bit more character to some of your paintings, if you don't do this already, this might be something that you would consider, and it will just take your drawings and your paintings to another level. It doesn't matter if you're using pencils, pens, markers, whatever sort of paint. It is a little bit more character that you can add to your artwork. Okay? And in this case, on your shadow, if your sunlight, your light source is off to this side, then your shadow, which is literally just, in this case, a very watered down gray, your shadow is going to be on the object behind it. And it might seem like, well, that seems kind of silly to just add this little bit, but it's amazing how much adding this little shadow to it makes your object, in this case the dragon fruit, just pop right off the page. So by adding just a little bit of a shadow behind it, it just has that much more depth to it. So you don't have to use shading and shadowing if you don't want to. Of course, your drawings will be just fine, but if you would like to get a little more depth to your artwork, then this is a really good practice to get into.